Coalitions have once again been thrust into the spotlight following the recent developments in some Gauteng metro municipalities and the political fallouts between the EFF and IFP. But some have lamented the instability in various municipalities, as well as the fact that some political parties are preoccupied with positions rather than the welfare of their communities and delivering services. Members of Parliament will now be visiting countries like Denmark and Sweden, who are governed by coalitions, to learn from them.
This is the experience we are going through now at local government. It's likely to affect provinces and it's likely to affect national. I think by the time, it's urgent that everybody should actually be discussing about this thing, developing some framework which might ultimately end up with legislation. As members of Parliament, I think going into all these processes, in the end, would want to regulate coalition such that they impact positively on the needs of the people.
The South African Local Government Association believes it may be time to review South Africa's system of local government in the absence of a dominant party. Salga says that there may be a need to replace the dominant executive mayor system with a collective system that can accommodate all political parties that are elected to the municipalities.
Isn't it about time then to review your Section 12 and Section 16 notice? For Section 12 notice, it determines the state of municipalities either as an executive or a plenary or a collective municipality. Now, if you take a collective municipality as a distribution of responsibility, then you remove the issue of executive because it's a contentious issue that parties fight over it. Then you place in the collective type so that all parties that have managed to make the grade to come to council, they can then participate in that council so that they become part of the executive committee in leading the process.
Meanwhile, some political role players have mixed reactions on coalitions being regulated.
We have never worked with the right wing and the conservative, the DA and others. We have not worked with them in these coalitions. We have sticked our ground, working with the middle ground, people, independence and all of that in the coalitions were formed. And somebody was saying, why, Joburg, you give mayorship to a party with 3 people? What do you do when you are not in power? What society must understand is that coalitions don't work.
Perhaps it's time as South Africa, particularly ahead of the 2024 election, that we look at our legislation, we look at other countries that have had coalitions for long, coalitions that work and governments that are stable, countries that continue to develop in spite of coalition governments. We need to look at what they're doing right.
The state of coalitions in the various municipalities will be used as a barometer to judge how the country will be governed post the 2024 elections. Then the country should brace itself. Natasha Phiri, SABC News, Johannesburg.